October 2023 Soul Story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, you might find this reading resonates for you. Happy solar returns for those of you with birthdays this month. It's Romy. Thanks so much for taking the time to tune in and join me for the month ahead. So we're opening up with the Page of Pentacles. Now, you know, there are months where we ask questions, and then there are months where the universe and destiny delivers compelling and profound answers. And October is really set to be one of the most intense of 2023. It has a wild card, kind of electric feel. You know, we're into eclipse season. Of course, it's going to be arriving in your sign on the 14th, so this will feel very close to home. We also work with the veil being incredibly thin as we work our way towards Samhain at the end of the month, and that closing out of the lunar eclipse in Taurus. Even though there is an intensity and the astrological conversations are suggestive that there's more than a few road bumps for us to navigate, it's almost like you can harness and leverage the energy. This is what I really see emerging for you. You're going to have Mercury, Mars, the Sun, and Pallas Athena all working to support you in this first part of October. There's a humility that you bring to the situation, and I think that's incredibly important. It's like you have a level of respect as you witness some of the shifts and changes that are happening in your world. Now, we don't always appreciate or necessarily approve of the way in which things need to be done, but I think you can also come at this from a place of like, well, you know what? I don't know everything. And it's almost like there's an X-ray scan that's shown to you through the course of October about your life. And this is really here to help you to learn and to help you to make better conscious choices and decisions. So that humility, that open-mindedness, that willingness to be shown, to be taught, to be guided, and to really kind of understand, you know, even when it feels uncomfortable, that something is necessary in terms of the way it's supposed to bring about a shift and a change for you, okay? Mercury moves into your sign from the 4th, and we will come out of the complete shadow of Mercury retrograde. So the positive thing about October is that even though major news is going to be delivered, answers are being revealed, and sometimes that can feel a bit shocking, it can feel a little bit unexpected, but there is a clarity that comes for you and a sort of robustness and an alertness that helps you to be incredibly flexible and just know, because it's going to be very obvious to you what it is that you need to do. Now, is there stress that comes along with that? 8 of Swords. Yes, I think there is a component of, you know, when we are put outside of our comfort zone, you know, it's not always easy. But at the same time, I think there's a profound recognition for you that you've also outgrown something. And so as you approach this with the attitude of the Page, the stress is almost, again, productive stress. Yeah, sometimes we're just like, okay, I know that this feels a little messy, but at the same time, I actually feel weirdly empowered by it. You know, there's something about how this is coming together and coalescing. And remember, there's a huge emphasis for you through the course of this month, and especially with the spotlight of that eclipse around relationships. So the demands that you feel in relationships, both romantic, personal, professional, and the desires that you have are being highlighted in a way so that you stop accepting, you stop projecting, you stop, you know, being on the merry-go-round perhaps of some unhelpful patterns. And sometimes, you know, even though we know better, we have to revisit something. And so there could be an element of that, you know, happening in some of your relationships through the course of this month that, you know, might bring about some energy of feeling a little bit vulnerable. But the reason that we're revisiting it, even when you know better and even when you thought you dealt with it, is because through the profound awareness that we now bring through October, we're able to clear it up or to exit from it far quicker. And that's how we kind of measure the growth. That's how we see for ourselves. Now remember, growth isn't an outcome. It is a practice and a constant process that we're, moving behind. So there's a sense, of your acceptance that behind every great relationship, there have been and there will continue to be tough battles, grief, healing, acceptance, and most importantly, the way in which you approach the repairing of the damage that's done or the situations that you have to navigate. So the Emperor comes through and gives you, this is what I'm saying, like this level of power and control, even in sort of scenarios that feel a little bit out of your control. Now, I just want to call out a couple of dates to keep in mind. Now, Venus will shift into Virgo on the 8th. So remember, our love language changes to acts of service. In some ways, we are supported with a little bit of, a sort of cosmic change, because we've been Venus in Leo for some time. And so those grand gestures, that big emotive response, now being sort of reined in a little bit so that we can be more thoughtful and considerate and really show up and act and, provide in the way that we want to connect to people, but also how we are connecting to ourselves and demonstrating the ways in which we've grown and shifted and changed and respect who we are and who we've become. Now, I also think for you this month, there's quite a dramatic reveal that you want to make in regards to your own identity. So around that new moon, you might be stepping out, showing people a side of yourself, or, conveying something, presenting something very unexpected to others. But of course, for you, it's something that's deeply, been a part of who you are and your desires to want to be authentic and, and truly live in a way that sort of reflects that. But on the 8th, we also have this clash, between Pluto and Mars, which is quite an aggressive, charged kind of feeling. Now, with the Emperor and the 8 coming through there, it could be something going on around that time of the month where it's almost like a little bit of a showdown. Now, it doesn't have to be tumultuous. It can almost represent an opportunity for you to feel like I'm breaking out of the matrix here. Yeah, but there is a sort of intensity that sort of talks to me about, especially where you felt like there was a major responsibility on your shoulders, or somebody was putting an expectation on you that was way too much. So, we could have a bit of a head-to-head, an intense conversation and something that escalates quite quickly. We're just ahead, remember, of Pluto also going direct in Capricorn. So the planet, as it's waking up, is even more sort of charged, but sleepy and a bit groggy as well, so you have that sort of feeling where everything feels a bit disrupted. So keep that in mind. As we make our way towards that new moon solar eclipse coming in on the 14th at 21 degrees of your sign, we've got that beautiful ring of fire, deliverance on the new moon. Again, Mars is already shifted out of your sign and into Scorpio just ahead of it. So the intensity really starts to sort of amp up, if you like. Things can feel like they're moving at a warp speed through the month of October. And as I said, I think you are going to be in a position to be able to harness and to leverage this in ways that will be supportive for you. So you may find that things you thought were going to take a lot longer, all of a sudden, are coming in way sooner. Chariot is really emphasizing and validating that message that we're seeing. The most important thing for you is to not come at October with any sense of fixed, rigid, kind of clear objective that has no room for flexibility, because that's going to render you stuck when you have a few curveballs that are set to emerge. Okay, and remember, this eclipse storyline now in your sign is going to be playing out, it started in spring or fall of 23, depending on where you live, and it's going to go right through to spring, fall of 2025. So this 2-year cycle really is going to transform you at a huge inner level. And if you can kind of think about this whole experience as just being shown this X-ray vision of yourself and your life, then you can really get behind what this means. And it's going to be incredibly supportive, Libra, for you, no longer just managing the symptoms of things, but being shown the root cause or issue. and addressing it at that level. Now, the Chariot says, yes, it's time to move forward, and it's time to move forward purposefully and away from things that have felt that they have been blocking or holding you back. But remember, as these wild cards come through, big news, dramatic hellos and goodbyes happening through eclipse season, we can also feel incredibly vulnerable. We're like, okay, I've got no choice. Like, this is the direction we're now going, or this has just happened. And it can feel messy and not necessarily fully making sense. But as long as we can just find deep acceptance in that moment of where we are and continue to sort of try and bring a transparency, then what you're going to find is that October delivers big for you. Because many things that you'll have felt like you were struggling with, perhaps for a lifetime, all of a sudden you're getting clear truths, absolutely obvious solutions, and the motivation and the wherewithal to just say, okay, enough, I'm dealing with this. And remember, that special emphasis around your conscious connections is going to be highlighted, really strongly through the course of this month. So as we move past the new moon, we'll see the asteroid goddess Juno shifting into Virgo. We'll also have Mercury on the 21st shifting signs into Scorpio. And then we start to kind of really work and open up to more of this scorpionic energy that, again, amplifies the intensity, now brings with it a depth and an emotive, intuitive knowing. Your strength card tells me here that, even though October is delivering this powerful wake-up call, and you're being given an opportunity to actually be incredibly productive, because the alertness that you feel with kind of non-stop, and this is that's coming through, right? There's just like a non-stop steady stream of news and information and changes and things that you have to deal with and navigate, but it makes you incredibly focused, and you're able to kind of hone something and just sort of work with what's like right in front of you. So there is a sort of deep state of presence that kind of comes with that. You're also digging deep for sure, but the tenacity, the resolve, the inner sense of really connecting to, what makes you you, and being clear about your determination to sort of overcome. And I think this is the thing. It's just sort of like against the odds and in spite of the intensity, you're just going to let this fuel you. And this is what we want to see. Now, as part of that, of course, there's a continuing need for knowing what we have to let go of, because you don't have the energy to carry with you the dead weight anymore. Now, that means that we have to make some difficult decisions. And I think that's also what's being highlighted here as I see that strength energy showing up. Yeah, but what we know to be true is that, the minute that you've accepted, this is no longer good for me, this no longer serves me, like this is toxic, or this is the thing that's holding me back, you can't unknow that information. So the longer you sit on it without taking action, the more uncomfortable it will be. So even though there's discomfort in the acting on it, it's worse if you don't. And I think, again, that's the sort of motivating force for you. And actually at its core, I think you'll really kind of understand, I know that this is what's necessary, this is what I need to do. So then the sun shifts into Scorpio 23rd, and we make our way towards that lunar eclipse in Taurus on the 28th. Now, listen, this is a closing out of that eclipse storyline in Taurus, coming in at 5 degrees. So you have to cast your mind all the way back to November 2021. What have you been working with? Remember, Taurus is asking us to all reconsider our sense of security, and at this moment, as we close this story, as we close this chapter, we're challenged to bring closure and to resolve something and to really understand the lesson that we learned. Now, there's a dramatic kind of showdown, if you like, around that lunar eclipse with Taurus, because we have Mercury, Mars and Jupiter all in hard aspects, which also means that there could be a real strong sense of exaggeration coming in around that full moon. A sort of dramatic revelation. There is some harmonious aspects in terms of Saturn. So the good thing here, the upside, is that you're going to be able to turn something around quickly. Yeah. And remember, just ahead of Samhain, and the same day Venus will trine with Uranus, there's something unexpected in terms of the breakthrough that also we receive by way of support from our ancestors, from our loved ones. We have to be very mindful, though, all the way through October, of really cleansing and clearing our own energy field. This is so important because we're more open and susceptible to those influences. And energies that are all around us, okay? But be aware that lunar eclipse in Taurus, the exaggeration, the drama that comes with it, the closing out, the what have you learned, yeah, all of this is going to be kind of coming at you with a speed. So there's sort of no let up through the month of October, but again, like, you're showing me a strength through the course of this month, and you're showing me a humility, and you're showing me a willingness to learn and to work with how destiny is delivering for you. And I think that this is the thing that's going to be incredibly satisfying for you, and actually help you to realize how far you've come, and really help you to make incredible amounts of progress, because you will see how much you've outgrown something. Okay, so there are growing pains through October, let there be no doubt with regards to that. And yet they are purposeful, and you will welcome them. Okay, so if you're new to the channel, Libra, our last 3 cards we cover in the extended version of my reading. We talk for another 30 minutes or so, explore things in more depth for your main reading, and we also look at a personal card and a relationship card for you, okay? So you'll find the link for that in the comment and description box underneath. I'm going to go ahead and clarify these cards for us to see some of the messages that are going to be showing up to discuss in our extended reading. So let's look at the Page of Pentacles. We have the 6 of Wands. All the decks that I use are listed below. So we have the Darkwood Tarot and the Crow Tarot this month. 8 of Cups there. Page of Wands. Got the energy of the Star. Hanged Man. Okay. Emperor, 10 of Pentacles. Now be sure to check out over on my Sacred Soul support on my website, my guided meditations. You'll find an eclipse journey to support you. You'll also find new this month a journey to explore connecting with your spirit guides. As the veil is so thin, it's a beautiful time to be able to strengthen or indeed connect for the first time with those that are supporting you on your journey right now. And we also have a really clearing, grounded journey that we can take to just help you to face some fears or things that might be going on through the course of this month, as we have some of these powerful shifts and changes taking place. You know, it's a real sense of kind of shedding your identity almost through the course of October. Okay, 3 of Swords. If you can keep in mind, you know, so much of the emphasis and the focus around this new eclipse storyline is moving from codependency to interdependence, you know, and really kind of understanding what needs to happen in each and every one of your own relationships, the people that you spend the most time with, including yourself, you know, to really seek more balance and harmony through that. So we're going to look at some oracle cards now for you. If you're new to the channel, this is my own deck, Life Soul Vision. Again, you'll find all the details of that over on the website, so please do check it out if you enjoy my work. The other sacred title I have is MUSINGS, which is my book available on Amazon. As a paperback, you'll find it on Kindle. I also have an audio version as well for you. So you have Labyrinth of Sweet Surrender, Spirit Horse, Full Moon coming in, Encoded Footprints. Remember, our belief systems are always challenged around eclipse time. There's a lot of karma that's coming up, and it is this sort of uncomfortable spotlight, you know, on something. Something that we do, something that we believe that needs to be discarded. We need to unlearn it. There we go, Eclipse Revelation. Okay. Let's have a look here. beautiful. You have Dragon coming through with power. Stay tuned for next month's soul stories. There'll be a strong emphasis on working with Dragon energy. Okay, finally, we'll explore these messages in your extended reading if you're joining me, Libra. Okay, the Magician and the Mirror. Beautiful. I hope you have a wonderful solar returns. Ride the waves this month. It's intense, but it's powerful. You can harness it, you can leverage it, and it will be incredibly productive for you. I appreciate you. I hope you'll come on to the extended. I wish you well, and I will see you again next time. Have a beautiful soul wane this month. Take care.